Participation.
It's gotta be good.
If I get thrown out, I'll go live with my mom.
Mama, get up the tamales.
Welcome to the Real Estate and Chill podcast, the newest and coolest podcast. So tune in. Two experts discussing the real estate market. Loan officer James Chudley and associate real estate broker Kevin Iglesias. Beware, this is not another boring podcast. This right here is the shit you need to hear. Respectfully.
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast. I'm your host, James Chattery, here with
Kevin Iglesias, associate broker. Today in the building, we have the man himself. They call him Danny Bonds, Danny Suits, all the way from, I don't even know. Danny be everywhere. He travels every state, every country. The man himself, Dan O'Neill.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor. Super happy to be here. Episode what, 51?
51. This is our 1 year anniversary episode, man.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm honored to be here for the 1 year anniversary. And I just want to say thank you guys for having some of the agents on the team. Super exciting. It makes me the happiest to see them shining and on here. And I also want to say I'm super fucking proud of you. Can I curse?
You do whatever you want, bro.
All right, I don't care. Super fucking proud of you guys because you did start this a year ago and how much it's taken off in that time and what it's done for your guys' business and all the philanthropy that you guys are doing is the coolest shit in the world. So before we get into the episode, I have something for you guys.
Ooh. Did $1 million?
I wish. Close to it though. Missing a couple zeros. But it is a $1,000 check that I want you guys to put towards whether it's maybe a giveaway to somebody or some sort of philanthropy, whatever you guys want to choose. But yeah, so $1,000.
Always giving back.
That's dope.
$1,000, and now I'm
Let's go.
That's awesome.
Now we can get into it. But yeah, take this before it's on the
Hold
camera.
on. We saw you gambling in.
Oh wait, I can't show the number.
Where were you gambling
No,
in
don't show
Vegas?
Yeah, it was just a bit with the broke agent. We did like a little.
So the
blog
check's
on it.
not gonna bounce?
Nah, check's not gonna bounce.
All right.
It might
Just
bounce.
making
I just gave Ark a couple $1,000 for photos, so it might.
Yeah, shout out to EPM.
Yes.
Amazing.
Hell yeah. Let's get into it.
So, I just saw your story yesterday. This is so off track, but the fact that you just like did everything you did yesterday, if you want to touch base on that, because I saw that whole thing last night when I was driving home from the gym, and I was like, I literally messaged you. I was like, yo, you're actually a good dude, like for real.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, right? Like, it's not all a scam, but yeah, no. Last night, obviously, philanthropy and giving back is something that we founded the O'Neill team on, something that I grew up with, and something that really just makes me the happiest. You know, selling real estate is great, but having this platform and being able to motivate or inspire other people to do the same is really what makes me the happiest. And last night, I've been going back and forth with this guy. I've seen him a couple times on the side of the road, so I've given him money, I've given him sweatshirts, blankets, and I saw him last night, and he told me that he finally got a job. It's next week he starts, and he's been living in a tent. So I picked him up, took him to my house, gave him my favorite sweatshirts, gave him some nice new sneakers, gave him some clothes, blankets, and I booked him a room at a pretty nice hotel for the next week, so that way he can have some hot showers, and that way when he starts his job next week, he's gonna be all decked out, some nice gear, and he'll be ready to go. I got a nice haircut lined up, and yeah. And normally I don't post about it, but like I said, the amount of messages and feedback that I do get from it, I'm just hoping that like sharing that story, right? Like you see somebody on the side of the road, oftentimes you think they're doing drugs or they have a drinking problem, whatever it is, or that they don't want to work. Like in his example, he lost both of his parents in 1 year. And he just has nowhere to live, and he's depressed. And, he was telling me that it's oftentimes like the people in the nicest cars that are like handing him a $100 bill, and he goes to take it, and then they snatch it back, laugh, and drive
that's
away.
Messed up.
People like
I would smack the person if I ever saw that happen.
And like people like spit on him and they throw stuff at him. So
that's horrible.
You hear that kind of stuff, and it just puts life into perspective. And you guys are on the same trajectory, right? You guys are gonna blow up and get as big as you are, and even bigger. So it's a good way to remind yourself of like where you came from, and there's always somebody that could use help, and just kindness more than anything.
Yo, honestly, I feel like using our platforms to like do things like that, like what you were saying before, I think that it's actually a really good thing because like when I saw that, I was like, damn, like that's a really good thing to do. I want to do something like that too. Yeah. So like using your platforms to do that, I think that's a great idea. And just spreading awareness. It's not really about like you know what I mean? Like it's not about you at all. You're trying to do that so other people see what you're doing so they do the same thing. So.
And the feedback I get too, I mean, people DMing me left and right, like I'm going to go out and do something, or even just a friendly reminder, just like be nice to people, right? Like it's really not that hard just to be kind. Yeah. You don't have to give someone money. You don't have to buy them a hotel. You don't have to give them clothes. Like you don't need to do any of that stuff. Just God bless, or hey man, like I hope you get out of the rut you're in. Even roll down your window and say something positive, right? Like that's the easiest thing to do is just be nice.
Yeah.
Like you said, being nice costs $0.
Free.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch base on the story that you were at a networking event?
On Facebook, right? I didn't even know you use Facebook, bro.
I really don't, honestly.
I don't either. But
that was just something
use
that,
MySpace.
listen, no matter what brokerage you're with, no matter what company you're with, right? Like, we're all in this together. There's enough houses to go around. There's enough money to be made. It just goes back to the point of just being nice, and you never know where you're going to be in life, right? And you never know. You burn a bridge, and it's the worst thing you could do. Whether you're an associate broker, whether you own the company, whether you're a brand new agent, you should always just be kind.
But I think that touches a point because some people who don't even know you just have, I guess, like a grudge or something for you. And that goes with anybody, right? Some people hate on other people's success. They don't want to see them doing as good as they are.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Well, I mean, and you got to think too, like the business has been the same way for like 30 years, right? 40 years. And now we come on the scene and like
Changing everything.
dressing up as Batman. We're sitting here like, popping confetti. Like on the same day, like I got #1 luxury agent from Property Spark. It's the same day I'm putting out that I bet $5,000 on roulette. So it's like we're doing all these things, right? So like, of course, people are gonna hate on it or think that we're doing things differently and be pissed. But if somebody doesn't like you guys or somebody doesn't like me, it's only because they don't know you and they they're jealous or they're envious, and it's a bad way to be. Shouldn't have any hate in your heart.
So let's rewind back. Let's dive into before you got into real estate, like what you used to do. I'm sure you said it a lot of podcasts, but can you share that story with us?
Yeah, I was in the restaurant business. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was definitely very depressed. Definitely had a slight drinking problem, which was a little bit synonymous with the restaurant business at the time. At least for me, I was working 100 hours a week. And it was just, the easy thing to do was just go out and drink and have fun. And then you do the same thing the next day. So I was just in a really bad place. And I knew I wanted to change my life and kind of own my own business. So I knew that if I put the same amount of time and effort and energy that I was for this guy in his restaurant as I did in my own business, I'd really have no choice but to succeed. And the only way that the only way that you'll fail is if you let yourself fail.
Yeah.
So I knew I wouldn't fail, and, fortunately found real estate, and yeah, it wasn't easy. It's still not easy, but
It's stressful.
But,
It's stressful.
especially in this market right now.
yeah, but real estate definitely changed my life, and I'm super grateful for it. So
That's amazing to hear. Honestly, I always have heard, like, there's certain people, like, I know Josh Handler was in, like, the restaurant business before, handsome, and,
Beth,
yeah.
Mike Murphy.
Like, we're in the restaurant industry before. So how has that helped you in the industry that you're in now?
I think people that are coming from the hospitality industry are the best people for real estate because you're used to customer service. You're used to talking to people all day. You're used to, relating to them. You're used to putting out fires because that's all we do every single day is just constantly putting out fires.
Or a therapist.
A therapist, same thing, right? Someone sitting in a bar.
Yep.
So I think that coming from the hospitality industry, you immediately have a leg up in this business, or really just sales in general, because you're already used to all of those different things that our business really is.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. And on top of it, you said you're working 100 hours a week. I mean, how many hours are you working a week now? I feel like that might have prepped you for the craziness of the real estate industry.
Yeah, I mean, my first 3 years, my first 2.5 years, I was probably putting in like 80 hours a week. I was doing 4 open houses every single weekend, sometimes 3 in a day. I didn't drink or go out for 2 years. Like, I didn't see my friends, wasn't really dating, like just really shut everything down and just put so much time and effort and energy into real estate. And people like see what I'm doing now, but they kind of forget about like those times, right? Because I have all these new followers. But, like for example, I was so busy, right? And I was doing 3 open houses every single Saturday and Sunday. So it'd be like 11 to 1, 1:30 to 2:30, and then 3 to 4.
I remember those days, man. It's crazy.
Dude, crazy. So like, I had this one of my first listings ever. My dad, who's not even a licensed agent, so someone's probably gonna call DOS on me here, but whatever. I don't give a shit. I would pay him to like go sit at the open house and just manage it because I knew it was like a really slow house and nobody was coming through it. It was a bad listing. So I'm rushing around. I finally show up to like the last open house and I'm walking through. I'm like, like, nobody's here. I'm like, where the hell's my dad? He's supposed to be at the open house. Bro, I walk outside. He's sleeping in his car, dude. Bro, like literally sleeping, like snoring. I knock on the window. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, shucks, nobody came. I'm like, dude, the front door's wide open. Like, place could have got robbed, whatever. Hopefully no one gets me in trouble. That's not a true story if anyone asks, but
Allegedly,
yeah. But I had many, many stories like that, and people don't remember that, but I certainly do. And
you know why? Because everybody sees the success that they don't remember the failures. But you have to fail in order to reach success.
Oh my God.
But I feel like that's something that social media, like I'm going to say something bad about social media now. I feel like that's making people think that like, just because they started, like they should already be at the point that you guys are at. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work that way.
There's no such thing as instant gratification.
Yeah. It's not an overnight success.
Or instances of success.
Unless you're in crypto. in
Yeah, I
Bitcoin.
guess. And then you can
Well,
reach
not-
out to
not
Dan
recently.
O'Neely.
Yeah, very true. No one's gonna understand that joke, but that was good.
Inside joke.
Yeah, inside joke.
When did you feel like, all right, all the time that I'm putting in, like when did you have that successful moment? Like, yeah, I made it. Like this feels good.
Still haven't really had that moment.
No, not at all. No moment in your life that was like, yeah, like this is where I picture myself to be, and now I'm here.
Not yet. I don't think I'm there yet. But I almost quit 100 times my first year. You know, I can tell you that the truth. I mean, and now like with the team and having new agents and seeing a little bit of their struggles, like it's not easy. Like if I told you my first 10 deals, like I could go on for an hour of how funny that. It's like a comedy. Really, it's like a sad comedy. But I almost quit 100 times. So I'm just proud of myself that I didn't quit and then I stuck with it. And one day, hopefully, I'll have that feeling. But I don't think I'm there yet.
So you manage a team. How big is the team now?
Oof, we're growing pretty big now. We have about 5 agents in Florida. We have a few in Queens and Manhattan, a few out in the Hamptons, and I think we have about 24 here.
24.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there's more than 24.
Yeah, I think we have like 30.
How do you manage that? Because
Yeah, that's a lot.
bro, I just started a team, and a team of like 6, 7, and I'm just like, yo,
See, that's
it's a
the
lot.
flyer. The flyer's dope too. I love it. I saw that
Thank
this
you.
morning. I think you like promoted it or something. I saw it on my story.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good flyer.
But how do you deal with all the stress? Because it's not easy.
Right here, I got my nicotine vape. Let me clarify that it is nicotine and not anything else. But this is how I handle it right here. No, it's just about surrounding yourself with the right people, having the right systems and structures and in place, and it's a constant learning curve. Like you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna feel stressed out. I mean, I look like I'm 40 years old and I'm 28. I'm getting gray hairs in my beard. I'm riddled with eczema and anxiety, but it's part of the business. You know, it's part of growing. So I don't think there's any real good answer for that.
No, but outside observation, like everyone on both of your teams, they're all sharks. So it's like, because there's obviously like there's really good realtors and there's realtors who are like, all right. But like on both your teams, like everybody I know on both of your teams, they're all sharks. So it's like that must make it a little bit easier for both you guys, right? Because they're all so motivated.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's surrounding yourself with the right people and bringing on the right people that match your culture and fit what you're trying to do. And it never gets easier, right? No matter if they're a shark or if they're brand new, it's kind of the same thing because you have to make sure that they're being fed leads, that they're doing the business they need to do. That way they can feed their family. And it's a stress that like you have to deal with every night, right? Like if your head hits a pillow, but you got 5 people on your team that aren't doing well, that's kind of a direct responsibility to you.
So, like, how'd you develop a relationship with the broke agent? Like, where did that come from? Social media?
Yeah, social media. I reached out to him. Actually, that's not true. Justin sent him one of the first videos that we ever did back in the day. I think it was the You spoof that we did, and Eric reshared it. And then we just kind of went back and forth, and I told him what I was looking to do in the business. And it's really cool because now he's probably like my best friend. And 2 years later, I guess, 2.5 years later, the same things that I messaged him about back then. One of them was like a real estate course, like a comedy course, right, for new agents. And the other thing was the Barstool of real estate. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Barstool, right? But like they have the website, they have blogs, they have different shows and different podcasts, different creators, all of those things. And back 2 years ago, I was like, I think this would be a really cool idea for the real estate space. And I don't know when this is going to drop or when this is going to air, but in 2 weeks.
Sunday at 7 p.m.
Sunday? All right, well, shit. But
March 20th.
I don't even know what day it is.
you'll see something in the next couple weeks that is that's coming out that's going to probably change the real estate landscape and the real estate world. And it's cool that we had spoken about it 2 years ago, and now it's coming
Now
to
it's coming
fruition.
in.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and he's a great guy. I go to all the conferences with him. David hung out with him too. He's a clown, but he's the man. And he's helped my business tremendously. So
And every single person knows him. Like, even if they don't know anything about, like, the real estate side of social media in Long Island, they all know, like, actual agents, and then they know the broke agent. Like,
Yeah.
everyone knows both of them.
I mean, dude, I go to a conference with the
And they
guy,
know you guys,
and I get like carpal tunnel from how many pictures I have to take of him and like other people. Like I'm sick of it, right, David? Like the entire time it's like, hey, can you take a picture of me and the broke agent? Can we take a picture of me and the broke agent? I'm like the guy's personal photographer. I think that's the only reason he keeps me around. I don't know. Ridiculous. But we do have a new podcast that's coming out too that he's presented by Broke Agent. It's gonna be called Between Two Lockboxes. So it's like a satire, like funny, but also a little bit educational, like 5 to 7 minute short form podcast where you're gonna see some of your favorite creators in just like a really different light, as opposed to like being super serious and like, oh well, how did you build your business? It's gonna be like, you'll see. Like, all right, ready? I'll ask you one of the questions. If you could play one song, this is the only song you play for the rest of your life at an open house, but it's blaring. What song would it be?
My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion.
Okay. What about
I don't
you?
even know that song.
You never watched Titanic? What the heck?
All right, not a song, a movie.
A movie that I would keep on the background?
Yeah, it's like blasting the entire time at an open house, every open house for the rest of your life.
I would say The Dark Knight
That's a good movie.
Because it's just such a good movie. I could watch that every single time. I wouldn't care. So it wouldn't matter.
Would you rather wear a name tag for the rest of your life, or would you rather put every property description in all caps forever?
All caps would be.
But see, like, so those are kind of some of the questions that are going to come up, and like the answers they're really good. So I'm super excited about it.
When's that drop? You said 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too.
So, real quick question. So, obviously, we've been talking about social media a lot, but I definitely want to hear it from the source. So, how has that influenced your business? Where were you at before? What advice do you have for other people in the space who want to use social media?
Sure. Loaded question, but
Yeah, there's a lot.
so social media changed my life and the use of it, right? Between all the videos that we've done and the amount of business that I get from it it's 99% of my business. So whether it's a referral or a past client or just a DM, the amount of business that I've gotten from social media, I can't even put a number on it. And just the brand and the presence. And when I go on a listing appointment now, I don't have to sell myself. I don't even bring a listing packet with me. People feel like they already know me because I put myself out there on social media, and like for better or worse, like I'm myself, right? So like same way that I just pulled out my vape. If somebody doesn't want to work with me because I, vape nicotine, then I'm not gonna work with you. No big deal. If you don't want to work with me because I curse sometimes, then same thing. It doesn't affect me, right? So I've just been unequivocally myself on social media, and it's really changed my life. And the videos that we're doing, I'm just having fun, really. That's the biggest thing. And advice that I would have for people is just to put yourself out there, right? Like, again, I have crippling eczema and anxiety. I'm getting gray hairs, whatever. But like those insecurities that you have, I guarantee, like, if I didn't tell you about them, you probably wouldn't even have really noticed them in my videos. Maybe you would have, but so I feel like people are afraid to put themselves out there because they don't maybe get the likes or the views or because they have these insecurities, but no one else really notices those insecurities about yourself. It's really only you. So the biggest thing is just getting out of your head and posting it out there. It doesn't have to be a high quality video. You don't have to have a full-time camera crew. You could literally just have a phone and a ring light, and just putting that content out there is the first part of it. That's my advice.
Drop. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
Sorry.
Can I ask a question?
I got a lot of questions.
How'd you see, because all right, you dived into social media like really early. Like you saw that, the shift.
Yep.
And now it's paying off. Like, what made you see that? Because nobody else was doing it, or?
Well, I mean, it was just something that, like, and when you first get in the business, right, you have your Brian Karps, you have the Beth Lowe's, you have all these people that really dominate the market. So as a 25-year-old, how are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to be different? What can you say when you go on a listing appointment that is going to be different than what Brian Karp or, somebody else is going to say? And for me, it was just like these funny videos that I thought it was a cool way to kind of get my name out there and just be different and unique. And then, I mean, listen, if you saw the videos we did 3 years ago, like, they're an absolute joke. They were horrible. But you got to start somewhere, right? And you need that experience. But that was really the biggest thing, is I just wanted to be different and unique. And I thought that if I did these videos, it would get, a ton of views, which was the equivalent of getting more showings, which was more offers. And 3 years ago, yes, the market was still super hot, but now you could kind of just put something up there and it sells pretty easily. But back then you really had to, I was going and posting flyers in hospitals about the houses, that we were taking out ads in Newsday. Like, we really were hustling to sell some of these houses. And a lot of the houses too that I was getting were for sale by owners or expireds. So they had already been on the market. They were overpriced. So I had to, jump in a jet ski or ride a goddamn horse.
Oh, I remember those videos.
So I had to do those things to try and get views, to try and then sell the house. And, that was really the biggest thing. Done some crazy shit.
I feel like that was the video. Like, those two videos, I remember those so clearly. Because, nobody was doing that. I remember that.
And the people that used to hate on it too, and I got a ton of hate on it, like, oh, what are you doing in the business? Like, this is a joke, you're making a mockery, are now the same people that are hitting me up like, hey man, you want to act in our video or spoof that we're doing of I'm not gonna even say the video because then it'll be given away. But those same people now, right, that used to hate on it, that were maybe a little bit older or used to the same way they did business, are now the ones that are hitting me up like, hey, you want to be in this video, or what do you think about this? Do you have advice for this? It's like, sure, I'll help you, no problem.
You send an invoice?
I would never. But it's interesting to see, and like how many people are now adapting real estate humor and comedy, whereas like 4 years ago, I feel like it just did not exist. Like, it was frowned upon.
Yeah, which is true, because a lot of people, when they think real estate, they think very like stuck up or like, lavish lifestyle and things like that, which it does occur from real estate, but there's so much more that we do that people don't see.
Oh my God, the amount of times people say like, all you guys do is just open doors and show houses and do this. It's like, it makes me sick.
I'm not even a realtor, and those get me so angry.
Yeah.
Like, I see it on TikTok a lot.
Yep.
And it's the most annoying thing. It's like, oh, all you have to do is just show somebody a house. And I'm just like, all right, how do you get to that house? Like,
how do you balance the love life?
I don't. I don't. I had a relationship for about 3.5 years that broke up because of not having any balance. So I made it a point this year. Like now, I'm sure you see me having a little bit more fun and kind of doing more things. So my goal for last year was not like any transactional amount or anything. It was just to give myself a little bit of a break and give myself a little more balance, because if I kept going the way that I was between the restaurant, 100 hours a week, then running to real estate, right, for 2-3 years, 7-8 days a week, not even taking a day off for 18 months, I would have burnt out and just been miserable. So I'm working on it. It's a constant work, right?
I'm always on my phone, so I don't even like.
You just got to find, I mean, like, you're married and you have your baby, but you got to find somebody that's okay with it, right? Like, it's a shocker that none of us are on our phone right now, but like, you're on a date or something, like, yeah, listen, like, it's our business, you're on your phone, but you just got to find somebody that's okay with it. And I think it's not anything that will ever change. So,
what's your goals for 2022?
Take over New York and Florida.
New York and Florida?
Yeah.
1,000 houses sold.
10,000.
10x your goals.
Yeah, right. No, I don't have like an actual set number. I just want to see the team succeed. I want to see all them continue to grow their own business and brand, and excited for this new chapter with the Florida stuff, and maintain the business here. So,
and a lot of people don't realize, like, when you start in real estate, you're a brand. Mm-hmm. Can you touch base on like your brand, how you like develop it and put your thought into it?
Yeah. So everything that I do, I try and think as if like I was like a Target or like a Walmart, like a big brand, right? And every post, every story, every conversation that I have, I try and relate back to that and think about that, because, like, so for example, right, I have a couple of new agents on the team, and they're young, right? They're very young kids. We're at a networking event, and some of them are drinking and buying shots and whatever, which is totally fine. Like, that's life. But you got to think, like, for some people seeing that, that's their first impression of you. That's your brand. You don't want that. You don't want that to be synonymous with who you are, right? And as shitty as that sounds, like, your first impression is everything. So brand in this business, and really any business in general, is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And I've just, in the very beginning, I was like very, suit every single day and whatever. And now I've kind of figured out that, like, if I'm just myself, like, that way there's no difference. If I go on the listing appointment, I'm talking like this. If I'm on social media, I'm talking like this. Like, I'm bringing out the vape. So the brand is very important, but I think it's also really important not to fake it. I think it's very important to be unequivocally yourself. The same way that you guys are in here banging out shit, popping confetti, like, this is you guys, right? Like, you don't stray away from it. So building your brand and keeping that brand is very, very important. And I think you got to treat it as if you're like a Walmart or a Target.
I think that's very fair, because that's exactly what I do too. Like, the thing is, like, I always just, like, I mean, like, we've met before, like, obviously, like, we've seen each other at networking events. Mm-hmm. I'm not different. Like, I never change myself, because, like, that's just
what just hit me? I don't mean to cut you off. The first time we met was at the charity event.
Yeah, basketball event, right?
Yeah.
That was the first time you guys met. We've done a few
deals together, though.
Yeah. We never actually.
Yo, speaking of the charity event, you guys both lost to me and Algu and Justin, who are both on your team.
How many episodes you can talk about the goddamn?
Yo, actually, I haven't even brought it up. Oh my gosh, I haven't even brought it up until now. Like, that was like the first time I brought it up.
Listen, Algu beat us. You didn't beat us,
bro.
Shout out to Matt Algu. He beat us. You didn't. Guy had more points than both teams combined, I'm pretty sure.
Yo, I think he had like 40-something points, and he went crazy. But yo, who do you think got these boards? Oh, and on top of that, you actually are. I remember at the game, I was like, "Yo, Dan, you're not as bad as you." Whatever. I said something like that. You're like, "What does that? What does that mean?" Yeah. I was just like, "I mean, dude, shit." I was so out of shape. I was the most sore I've ever been in my entire life after that game, and I had like 2 weeks worth of practice. This year, I don't want to be on your team. Number one, I'm on Kevin's team. Gonna announce that
Dan,
now.
He's like, "Yo, I got Dan this year." I'm like, "All right,
I'm out. I'm not on your team. I'm on Kevin's team again. We're gonna run it back, and this time I'm gonna be in the gym for 3 months, and Algu's gonna put up 50. And I'm gonna put up 40.
Wait, so you got both of them? You're going to have both Algu and Dan? All right, fine. Take them both.
No, we don't want Algu.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, you got to beat him again?
Yeah.
Full
court press. I love you, Algu. But full court press, bro.
Yo, the fact
I'm going to be throwing some elbows. You
guys did not double team him at all. And then he was just open to do his thing. And I was just like, all right, whoever has the ball, dish it out to him. Because he's a shooter. So it was just like, that's all he does. He was pulling up from half court. And I was just like,
that was pretty crazy.
Do your thing, bro.
Just keep doing it. He's good.
Yeah.
He's the man, too.
But I'm excited for that. That's something that we are definitely looking forward to this year.
Oh, yeah.
But, let's get back into just real quick about the real estate market right now, because obviously it is crazy right now. Rates have been going up as, with that whole Russia-Ukraine situation, rates came down. Right now they're back to basically what they were at before that whole situation calmed down a little bit. But house prices are not slowing down at all. So now we're getting that time where everyone was telling them before, the rates are low, get into your house, even though the market is hot. But now, would you say the market's even hotter than it was like you know, like a few months ago in like September, October.
Yeah, I mean, I just sold my house.
Yeah, right. Like,
So I'm preaching what I practice, what I preach, whatever. But I think that the values right now are insane. But it's also because the speculation of rates going up.
Yeah.
Like if you're a good agent, you should be circling back to all of your buyers that maybe are just research buyers, or maybe that have been on the sidelines, and say, hey, listen, like rates are going to be going up soon. Like you better get back in the game. Otherwise, if you're qualified for a $600,000 house now, 6 months from now, if rates do go up, it's only gonna be a $500,000 house. So I think a lot of good agents are reaching out to their buyers and letting them know that. And then I think good agents are also reaching out to anyone they can, seller wise, and be like, hey, listen, you could cash out right now. You have tons of positive equity. Even if you bought a year ago, like I bought my house last November, I put like 125 grand into it and I made money, which is ludicrous. It should never have happened. So it's good on both ends. And the other thing too is if you're a good agent, here's a little tip I'm going to give to everybody. Think about all the people that came out like with COVID in the city, right? They all came out here. They left their city life. They bought something. The city's coming back now. Like the city is fun again. They lifted all the restrictions. So now all these people are sitting around here like fucking green grass. Oh, not green grass, yellow grass. It's cold. I got two trees around me. There's nothing to do. Everything is far as hell. So what do you think all those people, that have came out here now that the city's coming back, what do you think they're going to do? Probably got to head back to the city. So I would circle prospect and I would go back to every single person, because MLS and public record tells you like Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, whatever. I would circle back to all those people, find, where they came from, and I would cold call them and say, hey, listen, you ready to sell your house? You can probably make an extra 50, 60 grand and go back to the city. Because I think there's going to be a big, big influx of people heading back that way.
I think that's a good point. That's free game.
Shout out
Sean Waller.
Free game right there. And that you could just add that to your arsenal between the for sale by owners, between expireds. So.
Before you do sell, though, check in with Lou Soriano with taxes. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
You don't want to screw yourself over.
Speaking of which, just taxes, man.
Yeah. That's a fun situation for you guys. Not for me. I'm W-2. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
you got into the business when? What year?
2019.
2019, but so then it wasn't like a seller's market like it is.
2018. I'm sorry.
2018. So it wasn't a seller's market. It was a totally different market back then.
Yeah, I mean, it was still busy. It was still a little bit of a
but
seller's
you could
market.
negotiate like 30, 40,000 off asking price.
Yes.
Now you can't do that unless it's overpriced. Then that's a different story.
I mean, even still, like I feel like you still kind of get lucky. If something doesn't sell in the first like 4 or 5 days, yeah, it's way overpriced. But I haven't seen anything go under ask in a very long time, at least on my end. But back then, yeah, you can negotiate. Like you could do an inspection. You don't have to waive an appraisal. Now it's like you got to give up your firstborn baby, your liver,
kidney, everything.
like everything. So, but listen, the market is going to turn. So if you're not doing the right things now, right? Like if you're not doing what I just told you and the for sale by owners expires, if you get away from that stuff, and the market does turn, you're going to be one of the agents that's probably not doing business when that time comes. Because right now it's easy to make money.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. Like, what do you think is going to happen to the newer agents now that are just spoiled, right? Because a lot of these new agents are getting listings and putting them up. They're gone in like 2 days. What do you think is going to happen?
Truthfully, I think they're going to have a tough time. I really do, because it is very easy right now to sell something and get away with mistakes. And I think that once the market turns, if you're not in these good habits now, if you're not doing the right thing now, you're going to be one of the people that aren't here anymore. And I preach that to my team all the time. Like, a lot of people think that now you can just make video and like, that's all you got to do is just make the video, do content, and like you're going to get business. But if you're not doing the behind the scenes work, if you're not doing the open houses, if you're not updating your CRM, if you're not sending mailers, cold calling, Google My Business, Zillow, all these things, then when the market does turn, you're just going to be sitting there with these videos and you're going to be like, oh shit, I don't know.
Expenses are high and you can't even do anything with them.
Yeah. So I think that if you're doing the right thing, you're going to be one of the agents that survive and that will make it. But if you're just putting up houses and you're just I'm drinking every weekend and going out and not really putting in the work and doing the right thing, see you.
But the same thing goes with the mortgage industry, because now as rates are going up, the refi business is leaving. So if you're not a purchase-based loan officer, it's going to be tougher for you to get into the game. Yeah. So I was doing my numbers for the last 2 years, and 3/4 of my business was purchase-based, because obviously I don't have like a previous pipeline of like people who I can refi out. Right. So like that's a big thing too, because you have to work with a loan officer who is purchase-based also. Right. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see, who stays, who leaves in both of our industries, because I think it's going to be, but I mean, I'm hoping for the best for everybody,
1,000%. This is your boy. How you going to let him sit this whole podcast with a piece of confetti on his jacket?
Well, sometimes it's in his hair.
Right here? Damn, son.
No, he's an opposing team over here.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I'm not saying this side.
So, damn, you made me forget what I was going to ask.
Bro, you had me going on this whole thing with confetti on my...
Kid got confetti on his face and
bro,
you
last
didn't say
night confetti
nothing.
in my hair and nobody ever told me.
He ain't your boy.
What was one of the craziest stories like that you think back and like, damn, I can't believe I did that? for a listing?
I got a good one. When I first got started, I used to bring my dad around as I'm probably getting in trouble for this too.
Yo.
Well, listen,
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
well, listen, you know, it wasn't too far from the truth because he could have potentially bought a house. But I would bring him around as like a buyer, right? And he owns a landscape masonry company, so his truck says O'Neill and Wellisher on it. It's my last name. So I would go on these appointments and I would tell him like, yo, park 2 miles down the road. I'll pick you up and then we'll go in together. Just don't say anything. Just act like you're a buyer, you know, like don't do anything stupid. My dad did not listen one bit, and dude, the guy would be like in the shower, dude, like running the shower, like testing the hot water. He'd be talking about like masonry, like landscaping, who he knows, and it's like, dude, you're not a buyer, clearly. Like, and I'd be shooting him looks, so I'd be like,
he's networking.
no, he was being himself, which was a problem. He's gonna listen to this, but whatever. So whatever. Long story short, one of the first ever listings I ever got, the cover's just way blown. My dad parks in front of the house. The guy literally looks out the window and just like. Looks at my card. He's like, Dan O'Neill. He sees my dad, O'Neill, right? Same name, same exact name. He's like, all right, what the hell's going on here? So damn. I was so caught. Like, he caught me red-handed. So I told him the truth. And somehow, like, he respected the hustle so much and respected that, like, I did that he actually gave me that listing. It was my first ever listing. It was on Edgewood in Smithtown. And then he gave me, like, from that day, he probably gave me, like, 35, 40 deals after that.
Wow.
Probably, like, my number one client, yeah. Called me red-handed. My dad's truck was outside. My dad's in the goddamn shower running the water. Like, I was giving this guy this. I'm like, dude, oh, get out. Like, I was like, yeah, laminate and flooring. I'm looking at my dad like, but yeah, call me and still gave me the business. And
But how can you not respect that?
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? But yo, also, why didn't you just say it was like your cousin or something?
Either way, what do you mean? My dad, he looks
Same
like,
last name.
Same exact name as my cousin, Dan O'Neill Sr. Like same middle name too. Like, the guy's name was on his truck. It was just so obvious. And like, I wouldn't be looking at my cousin the way I was looking at him too. Like, I was pissed.
Well, I mean, everything happens for a reason. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that was a good thing.
What's one of the coolest things that's happened from social media besides, connecting with the brokerage and anything else, like event-wise or, you speaking at certain places? What are cool things that's happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, speaking at the conferences, being recognized and people complimenting me on the videos and I mean, listen, there's a ton of really cool stuff. I think for me, the coolest thing about it all is being able to see the team succeed from it and like changing their lives. And then like looking through my DMs, like if I had my phone on me right now, I probably have like 180 DMs of people saying like, hey man, I'm really inspired by your content. I'm really inspired by like some of the philanthropy that you do. So knowing that I kind of can make a difference that way and inspire people that are our age or even older to either do the right thing or pursue their passion or do video or whatever it is. You don't even have to be in real estate. I think that really trumps like everything. Anything that I've been able to do or any of the experiences that I've had, I think that really trumps like everything, honestly.
Yo, honestly, I don't know how you do it, but how do you respond back to everybody? Like, even when you didn't follow me back, which you didn't until recently. But, no, it's actually been a while.
Controls that, not me.
No, but how do you reach back out to everybody? Like, even like before, I would just be like, oh, this is cool. And you'd be like, thanks, man.
Yeah. That's funny. But you know what it is? I mean, and listen, I struggle with it too, like especially because I have a ton of requests that I don't always get to, but I like to try and take like 30 minutes, before bed or something where...
On the toilet, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. where I kind of just scroll through and respond because I think that if somebody's reaching out to you and they're like commenting on your Facebook or your Instagram or DMs, right? Like those people are taking the time out of the day to comment, like the least you could do is respond back to them. And I think it's just really important to be that way, like for everything, right? Like I had 350 people on Facebook, wish me happy birthday. I don't know, 349 of them, but I took the time out to, say thank you. And I just think it's important that if those people are reaching out to you, those are your followers, those are like your quote unquote, not fans, but those are the people that are engaging with your content the most. So I think it's important to do that. And also I've been big time so many times in my life, right? Where, because I didn't have the blue check, I would DM somebody, or they wouldn't answer me. And I know how that feels, right? Like somebody you look up to or like a hero or somebody that you admire very much. And the fact that like they don't respond back to you, it sucks, right? It's a shitty feeling. So I know what it's been like to be in that position. So oftentimes, like if somebody reaches out to me, I know that just a simple little message back could potentially make them happy or make their day. And like me being in that position is bananas because I was serving drinks 4 years ago. So I'll never forget that. And I think it's just important. Like the fact that if I followed somebody, like I have messages where someone's like, oh my God, like that made my day. Like, why? I'm not fucking anybody. So I think it's important to use your platform for good.
Definitely. I mean, the platform has changed a lot for us as well. Another question is,
You guys probably see the same thing, right? Like people
Yeah,
hitting you up, like
it's-
you
it's
inspire them,
nuts.
like you follow them, and like they're happy about it. It's like, and you're like, dude, I've had social media for a year. Like, you know, why are you excited about it?
right?
You know, like, but it's good to always remain that way and never like big time anybody.
What's your beef with Ricky Caruth? You never answer his calls.
Nah, I have no beef. I have no beef with Ricky. That's just like a little. It's just a little. It's just an inside joke.
Can you look at this camera and just say a word to Ricky so we could cut the clip and tag him in?
Oh,
it?
is it gonna be clickbait? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, I really don't. I just I think it's like funny to kind of.
He's always
poke it.
calling you.
Yeah, he's always calling me. But it's funny, right? You notice that, so dude. In all my videos, like you probably will now notice it. Like I always put like something like a small little like hint or like a small little bit or inside joke in it, and it's really just for my own laughter. Because not that I feel any certain type of way about EXP, but yeah.
Will you ever answer his call though?
Yeah, I mean, if he called me, Ricky's a good guy. Listen, I got no beef with him. I have no problem with him. He's never done anything to me except cancel a podcast on me 2 minutes before. But
Damn.
Listen, we didn't
It
do
explains it now.
no, it has nothing to do with it. I'm just teasing. No, Ricky's a good guy. He does a lot of really good business. He's good with the coaching stuff. He's good with social media. I really have no beef with him. It's just funny for me.
that. I love his videos too. He has really good videos.
Yeah.
All right, yo, last thing you can leave
Wait,
us
no,
off.
before we do the last thing. All
Are you
right.
gonna- Another
So-
trick?
Another card trick?
No more card tricks.
Smoke
Gambling
about
trick. All right. So you lost $5,000, or was it 10? You lost it twice, right? That sucks. But
It's not a loss for a boss, all right?
Well, it's not even that. You got to think of all the content, the views, the clicks that we got out
No,
of
it's
everything too. Like
100%
that
worth
video
it.
on YouTube got like 4,000 views. That's like almost like equivalent of like 100,000 on Instagram. So
How many did you get?
4,000.
4,000? That's a lot.
And we didn't really promote it because I'm not trying to put it out there. That I
But then
lost
you got a
money.
question like, all right, I want to see him maybe losing money. You're like, yeah, he's losing money. I'm happy that he's losing money.
It could have went either way, right? So, like, in my opinion, if I won the money, it was the talk of the conference. Everyone would have been talking about it. If I
Yeah.
lost the money, it was going to be the talk of the conference. And either way, it would have been a win-win, and it was the talk of the conference. So, kind of worked out. And Tom Ferry followed me, which I paid 20 grand for that.
wait, so you lost $5,000 one day, and then you went back the next day to win it back, and then you lost it again.
It's a little bit of a convoluted story. We took the 5 grand out. I went to go put it on black. They wouldn't let the cameras. It was bad vibes, bad juju. So I didn't necessarily lose the second 5 grand on black, but it's gone. Put it that way.
All right. Well, redemption.
right, David.
Kevin against Dan.
5
Game
grand?
of blackjack against me.
5 grand?
Huh, I'm not betting $5,000 on anything. You guys can bet $5,000. I'm not. That's not me. All right, ready?
We're playing blackjack?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
19.
Oh, smoked. See ya. I wish I was in Vegas right now at the Cosmo.
Would you like to stay or would you like to hit, sir?
I will for sure stay.
Hit me.
13.
Hit me.
Don't touch the card, sir. Oh, 21. Okay. I think that's 21. Right?
Yo, can you take that check
I
out?
can never win.
Yo, take that check out.
17.
Give me a check.
You got to add $4,000 to that check.
Give me it. I'm fucking done.
There you go, man.
Listen, I got no more money to give back. I'm done. That's 5 grand in the hole now to Kevin too. I'm done. Take his cards out of here. I'm done with this shit.
Don't show it.
Last thing, man. Last thing. People get inspired by you, right? You've had a lot of success. Top 20 under 40. You're in the YPN board as well. You have the big team, a successful team. If somebody who's looking up to you, what advice would you give them that they're brand new, or they would just want to look to do more business?
Okay. Advice for a brand new agent would be to educate themselves, right? Like that's the most important thing is the more education that you have, the more confidence that you have, the more you'll be able to become the neighborhood expert that you want. So whether it's watching the Tom Ferry podcast, watching this podcast, reading books on real estate, whatever you can get your hands on, Ryan Serhant's stuff, Gary Keller's $1 Million Agent. It's really important that when you first get started to be trained and be educated so that way you're confident. Because that confidence will reek to other people. Well, not reek, but it's going to stink. Your confidence is going to smell out the whole room. But people will be able to sense that. So the first thing is being educated. Second thing is making sure that you're with a good company or brokerage or team. I think teams are like the current and the future for everything for real estate related. I don't really think that the individual agent is going to succeed as much as they have in the past because it's really hard to go on a listing appointment and you're there and you say, hey, listen, I have 8 people on my team, 8 agents that are advertising and marketing and trying to find a buyer for you, or my case, 25, 30. And then the individual agent comes in, it's like, I just got me. Right? And a lot of these brokerages, they're not doing a lot for their agents either. They're not giving them video. They're not, they may offer them a high split, but they're not really doing anything else or no training. So I think surrounding yourself with the right people, being educated, and just putting as much time and energy and effort into the business as you humanly possibly can, because this is something that no matter how much time and energy and effort you put into it, that's what you're going to get out of it. So if you're somebody that just 15, 20 hours, you're going to make the money as somebody that's putting in 15, 20 hours. But if you're somebody like us who's putting in 80, 70, 60 hours a week into this business, you'll succeed.
Well said.
Would you
And
agree?
100%.
and
I'm
so,
still waiting for my money.
Tapped out, man. Tapped out. I spent 15 grand already. It's not even noon. I'm done.
any final words to the camera before we end off?
No, I'm really excited that I was able to be here for their 1 year anniversary.
Yeah,
You
man,
guys did
it's amazing.
You did keep your promise too. I think you were at my housewarming party and you're like, yo, we're gonna have you on for episode 51 because I was busting your chops. I'm like, these guys haven't invited me on there yet. Like, they're big timing me now. What the hell's going on? Shit. But you did keep your promise, and I'm super excited and honored to be here for the 1 year anniversary. I really want to do something cool with that check too. You know, some sort of give back. I think if we collab on it, would be dope. And I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm really happy to see all of your success. I'm really happy with what you've done with this podcast. I don't listen to many podcasts anymore because I think a lot of them are a little bit boring. I listen to this as much as I humanly possibly can. So
We appreciate the support, man.
you guys are crushing
Thank you
it.
for being here.
Thank you. And we'll run it back soon. We
Oh,
will.
yeah. Next time this guy's got anything on his fucking jacket, make sure you tell him, huh?
Next time I need a better fitting shirt too, because this is a little tight.
Now he's all critical of himself.
Where can people reach you, man? Dan O'Neely or?
Yeah, I don't know. One of the 15 fake accounts of people. But listen, if somebody asks you to buy crypto and you think it's me, it's not me. I don't know the first thing about crypto. It's a fake account. Do not fall for it, please. Yeah, Dan O'Neil _ I got that blue check now, so at least I can't be fake
Blue
anymore.
check.
Blue check life. Hell yeah.
Oh, wait, and YouTube. And your YouTube?
YouTube, same thing. Yeah, Dan O'Neil.
Perfect.
I'm gonna start trying to hammer on some YouTube. I'm gonna try and start doing some educational content aside from the funny stuff too. So to try and help other people.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, that was episode 51 and our 1 year episode of the Real Estate and Chill podcast.
Let's go!
See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Chaudhry and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously, this podcast is so fucking good, you might want to tell your ex.